I spent over $80 on my first wig from a company called Wigs Is Fashion, and I did so for my Spider-Gwen cosplay. Which now begs the question of whether or not it was actually worth it, or if I just wasted my money. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, hi, hello, and welcome. My name is Star, otherwise I'm very simply known as Lady Dead Rabbit here on the internet. I am a full-time professional cosplayer, and today I'm going to be doing a full review on this wig that I got for my Gwen Stacy cosplay. The reason why I purchased this wig in particular from this company is simply for the fact that I had such an incredibly difficult time finding good quality, even decent quality Spider-Gwen wigs. Typically, whenever I get wigs for cosplays, I'm not too picky. I usually just grab something off Amazon. But for a character like Spider-Gwen, who has such an iconic and unique hairstyle, I knew I had to get something special. Now, I could have saved money and just gotten like a regular lace front blonde wig, in which I would just dye the ends pink, and that's initially what I thought about. However, during my research and my hunt for the perfect wig for this cosplay, I happened across Wigs Is Fashion. Now, this is my first time ever purchasing from this company. However, in the past, I have heard of them, but I've always been a little bit dissuaded from buying anything from them for the sole reason that their wigs are so expensive. On average, they're anywhere from $70 to $100. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't always have an extra $100 that I'm willing to spend on wigs. However, when I saw the photos advertising this wig, I knew no other wig out there would compare to this Spider-Gwen wig. Now, I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys here. I don't have a whole lot of wig styling experience. I've been cosplaying for 16 years, but during those 16 years, I've always stuck to characters that have relatively realistic hair. So whenever it comes to crimping wigs, using hairspray, or even dyeing wigs, my experience is there, but not really. So whenever I buy wigs for cosplays, I always try to aim for something that already is cut and colored relatively close to the character. Now, my purchasing experience for this wig was pretty smooth. I just went on the website, I typed in Spider-Gwen, and bing bada boom, the perfect wig just popped right up. Checkout was smooth, entering in my information was pretty smooth. I will say they do have different shipping options that you can choose from. For example, if you wanted something that was like first class versus standard. Now, I don't do any sort of con crunching. I try to be very anti-con crunching. So whenever I decided that I was going to cosplay this character and that I decided which convention I was going to cosplay them from, I made sure to get everything an entire month in advance. If there's one thing during my entire purchasing and shipping process for this wig that struck me as a little bit weird was the fact that whenever my order did eventually ship, the website never updated with my tracking information. In fact, I actually had to, over the weekend, I had no idea that my wig was delivered, so I actually reached out to one of their customer service lines and asked, because it had been 2 weeks. I hadn't gotten any updates on when this wig would arrive. Not that I was in any sort of rush for this, but typically whenever I buy from a company for the first time, I usually give them about 2 weeks to actually pack up and ship my stuff out. But lo and behold, the customer service was very fast. They got back to me within 24 hours and actually informed me that my wig had been delivered. I live in an apartment community complex, so we actually have a mail room in addition to mailboxes. Normally, whenever we get packages that are dropped off in the mail room, we usually get some sort of email notification letting us know that our package had arrived, because there is a code that we have to enter in order to access the mail room. But I never got that, so I never knew that this wig had been delivered. But I got it. Crisis averted. I got my wig. I'm sorry if the mic sounds a little bit weird right now. I'm kind of balancing it on my phone because I'm using my phone to record this video right now. but I want to show you guys how the wig actually arrived. So this is the box that the wig actually arrived in. It was a little bit bent up, but honestly, that's not a big deal. Wigs are usually it's usually pretty hard to damage a wig during shipping. But this is the box that it came in. And in addition to the box, it also came into this beautiful silk bag. I have never in my entire life, in the 16 years that I have been cosplaying, ever ordered a wig from a company and they send it in a silk bag. So I'm definitely keeping this, so I feel very special that I got this for my Gwen. And now the moments you all have been waiting for. Here is the wig in person. Now this isn't how the wig actually looks straight out of the box. As you can see, I did style the wig a bit, but I will go ahead and put on screen how the wig looks straight out of the box. This wig pretty much doesn't have any sort of shedding. So far, I'm not really having any issues of it tangling, and the curls are maintaining their shape, which is very nice to see. The color is completely accurate to what they advertised on the website, which is also a bonus. I always get really nervous whenever buying blonde wigs, because sometimes when they arrive, they look way too yellow in person. The wig isn't too thick, but I do think the lace is a little bit too big for my personal preference. The lace starts from one earlobe and goes around the entire head, which I guess is good, especially for people who have larger heads. But as someone who has a pretty small head, I just thought it was a little unnecessary. Now, as for the styling process of this wig, and this was a personal preference of mine, I do think that straight out of this box, this wig is beautiful and you don't really need to style it. So it's very beginner friendly for you baby cosplayers out there if you don't mind spending almost $80 on a wig. But I wanted to style it up a little bit for myself. So this might seem a little bit choppy here, but that was completely intentional. I did cut the side shave just a little bit, particularly on this side, just because I thought it was a little bit too long and I really wanted to emphasize that this is supposed to be a side shave. I also crimped and hairsprayed certain parts of the hair, particularly this little thing that pops up right there. And yeah, pretty easy. I didn't touch really any of this side of the hair, because honestly, I don't think it needs any styling. Whenever it comes to wearing this wig, I will definitely need to use some sort of adhesive to glue it down, because I already know from trying it on that the lace front does pop up a little bit, but that's genuinely just because I have a really small head, which I'm perfectly fine with. I don't have any issues with gluing down my wigs. In fact, I usually do that whenever I go out to conventions in general, just as an extra layer of security. Going into some of the pros and the cons of this wig, I would say the biggest pro being this wig is really nice. It's a really nice quality and I can see it lasting for a very long time. It's also completely accurate to how she's animated in the movie, which is exactly what I wanted. The biggest con for this wig, however, is unfortunately the price. Maybe it's because I'm so used to buying Amazon wigs that are usually like maybe $50 to $60, and Wigs Is Fashion is obviously nowhere near big of a company as Amazon, so that's probably why their wigs are a lot more expensive than Amazon wigs. But I do feel a little bit guilty dishing out that kind of money on this type of wig, especially considering the fact that most people are not able to drop $80 on a wig. So yeah, the biggest con honestly just being the price for the wig, which again, I typically wouldn't really complain about, except for this is such a unique character that this type of wig is really the only wig I could use for this character. Like whenever I get wigs, I usually try to use them for multiple different cosplays, which is just a little cosplay hack for you guys. But this is definitely one of those wigs that will only ever belong to one character, which is okay. So to answer the question at the beginning of the video of whether or not this wig was actually worth the price, I would say yes. I am glad that I decided to spend what I spent on this wig. I think that in the end, it's going to be totally worth it. I think my fans are really going to love this cosplay. I think I'm gonna have a lot of fun bringing this cosplay to different conventions. I don't at all really regret the money I spent on this wig. Will I be purchasing more wigs from Wigs Is Fashion in the future? I don't know. because I don't see a reason why I should spend $80 on like a generic blonde or a generic red wig when I can spend almost half that price just getting something off Amazon that might just be the same quality. But I don't know, what do you guys think? Would you spend that kind of money on this kind of wig? And if you guys have ever ordered from Wigs Is Fashion in the past, then let me know what your experience was and whether or not it differed from mine. Other than that, I'm gonna go ahead and end this video here. I do have one more last question for you guys. What are some other wig companies you guys would be interested in seeing me review next in the future? As always, don't forget to hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with more cosplay and cosplay related content, as well as like this video and leave a comment. Let me know you guys really enjoy this type of content so I know I should continue to make it in the future. And without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and head out of here. Happy cosplaying, guys.